Good then.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the daily program. Uh, I'm having what could become a heated debate between a- atheism and Christianity. I've been wanting to do this for a while. So, Alan, again, uh, you were you were bringing up a topic about David and Goliath.
Yep.
Uh, the last thing didn't get any of that. So, if you would like to make a quick recap on what you said, and
Okay,
I
so basically, archaeologists was going through the dirt
Archaeologists.
and they chuff and
well.
found a giant skull that was bigger than men's. And it was a real skull. It was made of calcium, made of bone. And they found little paintings of David killing Goliath on vases. And that's all the proof they have of that story. And they have other proof throughout the Bible about Christianity,
Okay.
but that's the biggest example.
So David and Goliath. Okay. So uh, I can I don't know. I would have to see articles that you're getting that, well, other than the Bible, that this stuff came from. But there are records of men being abnormally sized compared to now that would be depicted as giant. Uh, a weird, I guess, breed of men at the time. So I don't. Mm, that's I would argue that could literally be coincidence. That there just so happened to be a boy with a sling.
So
Uh,
let's think about it for a second. Let's go. It's like way, way, way back into history, and this back into history, there's no nutrition. So, like for example, Abraham would be like my height. He would be like 6 feet tall.
no, that's
So
not
they're
that's
not
not
very tall back
that's not what I'm talking about. What I don't know. Have you ever read the Dead Sea Scrolls?
then. No.
They describe before the recorded, the so-called Great Flood, which I will debunk in a minute. Uh, of men being like 8-9 feet tall, but they weren't like, they were like almost like fucking Skyrim giants. Like they weren't. I guess they weren't technically normal. The only reason we know this because we have found the bones. Anybody can Google it.
You can also Google Jeffrey Dahmer Polaroids, but I recommend you don't. Sorry, I had to interrupt.
What is that,
You don't want to know.
Ronnie? You're gonna send the few people that watch this into a fucking trap, aren't you?
Oh yeah.
But yeah. No.
We were
So,
talking about how you can find the bones
oh,
on Google.
Ronnie. But no. And I that's a good one, but I would almost be willing to bet that if these people did exist, and we do have evidence, scientific evidence that they did. Like, I don't, maybe their bones are photoshopped. If they're photoshopped, dislike the video and then correct me, because and go tell me to burn in a fire, because uh I'm
And
pretty sure.
subscribe.
No, they're probably not going to be subscribed. uh, I have 3 subscribers,
Then,
Ronnie.
then subscribe
But no.
just to be pissed off at him.
But
And
no.
I'm not trying orange.
But no. I will debunk Noah's Ark, and you can try to counteract my debunk, but I think I have a pretty valid argument on this one. If you've noticed, first of all, every religion has a flood story. Every religion. Islam has a flood story. Uh, I I think I don't actually have let me not say Islam, because if you notice in every flood story, what has happened is, if you notice, you have corruption. These are the variables that always go into these flood stories. You have a world in a state of corruption. You have what is so-called sinful people. You have dams that need to be repaired, the dikes that need to be repaired. And you have the people who are just hoarding in all this money and aren't repairing the dikes. What happens whenever it starts to rain? Well, that rain's not strong enough to fucking flood the world. The dikes break, the world floods, quote unquote world, and then the corruption is purged from the land. I don't think the Noah story is real. It's a fucking metaphor. I don't see how.
I honestly don't see that either. I don't see
Okay.
the entire world flooding over.
No.
You can.
That's just
It
me. I'll
might.
shut up.
It doesn't matter if it's true or not. It's giving you an example how powerful God is. That in world events, that the world flood by itself. It's saying that God made the world flood.
Oh, okay,
but that powerful.
But you just said if it's true or not. If it's not true, then
See, Christianity is all about believing. We're not supposed to go based on evidence. The only evidence we ever had was the Bible. The Bible tells us all these stories, so we don't know if it's true or not, but we have to believe that it's true.
Okay, well, I don't know if I can take that at face value, considering that we now have a process that is used to come up with a way to what is the basis of truth on Earth. Okay. So, do you believe in a difference between religious truth and what is literally true?
Yes and no. If that makes sense.
Sort of.
I believe that some of Bible stories could be true, but I believe that real world events like our physics might not show the real.
Okay. Now, do you want to bring up some, to keep this organized, do you want to bring up a topic that you believe is a valid topic, and then...
How about Jesus?
Okay.
Bring up Jesus.
That's a good one.
On December the 25th, over 1 billion years ago, Jesus was born. And that
Can I say something about that though? It just seems like a lot of people don't know when he's born. Like I never knew like if his birthday was Easter or December, because a lot of people like to say it's more around September, more around December, or even like on Easter and stuff like that. And I'm just confused, honestly.
I think, okay, Easter represents like something about jewels of the universe, celebrating the birth of the universe or something. I think that's what it's about. And Christmas is the day of Jesus' birth.
Okay. You know what, Alan? I'll concede to this. I don't deny Jesus of Nazareth as a historical figure. I really don't. What I deny is bringing in the miracles. Because when he came to Earth and had become human. He was immortal. He was able to be killed. So, I deny the idea that, I don't like Jesus of Nazareth performing the Christian teachings, I wouldn't deny. But this whole idea of him turning water into wine and, turning blind men to be able to see, I think a lot of that is metaphor. I don't think that's literal. And the argument I hear the most is you can't know because he was the son of God. Uh, I just, I don't, I'd like to hear your.
Well, Jesus, the whole point of Jesus was to show people that miracles could happen, and you could take that as however you want to.
Okay.
I personally believe he exists because, well, it's in our dreams. Because you ever had that dream where you could see some things happen, and then later on in life you see the exact things that happen in a dream?
No. I'm
Okay,
serious.
well
I've never had
then,
that happen.
What'd you say? I couldn't hear you. Like, what did he say?
Oh,
okay.
Like, I didn't
Let me
really
give you an
understand.
example. There was a day when I hated my mom so much that
Oh,
I wish she
jeez.
was dead. And then when I went to sleep, I had a dream about her dying. I woke up crying. I felt like it was Jesus or God telling me I need to respect my parents more because I can't have them forever.
uh, I. That's a weird one to get on because I don't want to.
You don't want to like.
I don't want to offend you.
You can't offend me.
I wouldn't offend you with anything. Like there's nothing I could say
No,
that would. Okay. I would argue that that was something psychological because of the internal feeling that you really felt for your parents.
it could be.
I mm, like like the idea that God came down and put his hands on you and said this is how you really feel. Okay.
That's a very broad topic.
Okay. Science and Christianity.
How a
I
lot of
don't
the
know which
things that
scientist, but one of the scientists was a scientist and a Christian at the same time. He'll use science to support Christianity,
Is this a
and he did alchemy. Well, who was that?
is this a modern scientist or is this somebody
I
from
think no, this was like an old one. I think that was
uh
Isaac Newton. It
Isaac
might have been
Newton?
no.
No,
It might have been him or someone else.
I can name a few off the top of my head, and you can go from there. There was Charles Darwin, Charles Dickens, uh, Isaac Newton.
Charles Dickens was a
It was
scientist?
Isaac Newton.
Isaac Newton. Okay.
Yeah, he did alchemy.
Hold on. I can Google it for a second and see if you want.
Alright, well, while you do that, I guess another topic should be brought up to keep it going, though.
Well, no. I want to hear what he has to say about it.
Oh, okay.
I just want to.
Alright.
Now this brings back to the thing I said earlier about believing. See, Isaac Newton believed in God, but he wanted everyone else to believe in God, and that's not what God wants. See, what I believe God wants is for everyone to believe what they want to believe. Okay, but see, you have Jehovah's Witnesses going to door, saying how that you need to go to church and you have to believe in. So a lot of people believe that you have to believe in God in order to go to heaven. That's not true. Your heart has to be pure. So let's say for Travis, he's an atheist. Well, he doesn't believe in heaven, but he never murdered anyone. He probably never committed sin. So he'll probably go in heaven.
I mean, all people commit sin.
Yeah, but
It's in human
God will
nature.
forgive them
But I
for
know
that.
what you mean.
Yeah,
I could see that being a thing that happens too, where I don't
but
believe in a God that believes you have to be perfect.
Here,
I think he's understanding
I'm
if he
gonna
does
ask.
exist.
I'm gonna ask.
um,
Okay, keep going.
can I finish my thought?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Um, But I feel like Isaac Newton was basically like Jehovah's Witness. He wanted everyone to believe in God, so he used science because that's what everyone when everyone can't explain something, he used science to explain it, like a magic trick. How will he do that trick? Maybe he used like slide his car into his sleeve and slide out the other to make the illusion they teleport the card or something like that. You know what I'm saying?
I understand that.
Travis, what do you got?
Uh, I don't know.
Like, let's say, how do you feel about science supporting Christianity? Like, would you still believe it if, even if science explained Christianity?
If science had a good explanation for an all-powerful being, then yeah, I would get behind it if it could be factually true. But the problem is religion is subjective, and it relies on the idea that you're just supposed to believe. Now, you see, I'm in my room now, right outside, and I can believe that there are trees outside. If I look outside, there are trees. You maybe that
What are you
wasn't a good
getting
one.
at? I don't understand what you're getting at.
What I'm saying
Like,
is,
he's saying that he believes,
I
he believes there are trees outside, because he knows trees exist.
the
Scientists say
the
that
the,
trees
the
exist. He
sci-
sees trees before.
okay,
Alright?
yeah, sort of. I worded it wrong.
Okay.
W- like you, there's nothing. You can't prove that an all-powerful being has done something to the world and manipulate it in some form of way.
Maybe not.
And that's where I have to draw the line. And like I really do believe that religion and science contradict one another. Now, I will give credit to religion. Science got started because the Bible does teach us in learning about the world we live in. But in doing so, it has shown us things that, in my opinion, are disproving just basically any religion at this point. Uh, Now, and here's a good one to go with. Oh, if here's one I'll hit you with. If you watch the process of a human live and die, if you've noticed that whenever they're very young, they're very upbeat. Bill Nye brought this up, and I thought this was very interesting. Uh, whenever you're young, they're normally full of energy. They're injuvenized. I pronounced that wrong. I apologize. They're rejuvenated, and as they get older, things start slowing down. Around I guess 55, close to 60. And things start going downhill from there. Your health starts deteriorating. Your sense of awareness starts deteriorating. Your reaction time starts deteriorating. And what Bill Nye had brought up is that there was this idea of a soul in an afterlife, that after you die, your soul would become eternally free into this immortal state where you would just live in heaven. Then the idea was that your soul should be more rejuvenated as you were to get older and get closer to death, because it would be ready for what was to come. But
Okay.
that doesn't happen. And
I had good combat for that, but I've completely forgot it.
and
Oh
I
wait,
don't.
I remember. Okay, you can keep going though.
Oh no, I was gonna say I didn't know if I was answering your question. I was trying to Google because there's really nothing on Isaac Newton and being religious. You have to dig really deep, and I found one thing about it, and it basically said he hid his religious belief. So I don't
Okay.
know. You might want to go check and see who that was you were talking about.
Okay. I'll check later. It was a scientist though. That's all I know.
Okay.
But back to what you were saying. I like to point out the fact that scientists found out that when a person's about to die, that the weight of a person drops dramatically. They believe it's the soul leaving the body, but I just want to state the fact. But that's another nuanced discussion. Now, back to what you're saying. You're talking when you were talking about the aging, when you're old. The reason why, all right, the devil has a cell for everyone. You can go in that cell. It's a cozy cell.
Oh, I'm
The
sure
cell's
it
always
is.
cozy. You never want to leave the cell. That's life. You can choose to go in the cell, or you can choose to stay out. But when you're in the cell, and it comes time to get out, it might be too late. The door just slams shut and locks. That's your death. You spend all that time in the show, they forgot all the time, and it's too late. Now
I
it might seem unfair that like you do one sin and then you go hell. That's why you are judged before you go to heaven or hell. Because like let's say you murdered a couple of people, you need to ask for forgiveness. They put you on trial for that, like a jury, and between heaven and hell. And when it comes to aging, yeah, that's all I have.
okay. I'm gonna ask you a hard question. What are you gonna do if we find life on Europa? Europa is Jupiter, one of Jupiter's moon. We're sending a rover there because we're almost certain that there's life on that planet. What are you gonna do if we find life there?
What about it?
If we find life there,
The
then that
god
pro.
had side projects that we never knew about, so what?
Okay, well, you hear that answer a lot. What I was gonna say is that if there's life there, that proves that a species have gone through an evolutionary process.
Alright.
So you don't believe there's a contradiction between evolution and religion?
I feel like, okay,
Because
I'm gonna go off the Bible for a second. I'm gonna tell you about my beliefs with Christianity. This is what I believe. I believe evolution and God exists. This is hell. When Adam and Eve were in the garden and Eve eat the apple, they were banished to earth and be immoral. So they had to feel pain. And over so many years, certain animals took evolution. Like there was a bird, and there was different types of this bird. Some had like the beak to that like clawed over to like scoop out fruit. Some were to meant to be pointy and kill things. And so basically, I believe in more adaptation, like adapting to environments, more than evolution. And that's what I feel.
okay,
Now the aliens and the planet and all that, I never said I don't believe in aliens. Aliens might exist, and God never said He only made one living beings. So he might make more. Well, I know.
But
No
it
one knows
also,
where he's from.
if I'm not, unless I'm mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong, it also says that the other planets are there to keep the Earth in alignment. So, I don't,
It says nothing like that in the Bible.
it doesn't? Okay,
Mm.
well, that's what I was told, but I guess they were wrong.
The Bible basically states that the only thing in the galaxy that states the fact that God made the solar system, and then there was light. That's all. That's all they mention in the galaxies.
okay, so you don't take the Bible 100% literally then? By saying what you just said, you don't, like the Adam and Eve story, you don't take literally. You don't believe God made man from mud and then made woman from man.
Here's why I think of the Bible. I believe the Bible 100%, but there's some things of the Bible that I interpret different than most people. Like, for example, there was this story, I forgot what it was called, forgive me for that. But basically, it was this man that was walking down this road. God told him to go to dark alley that was full of crime and all that. But he decides to disobey him and go on a ship. But eventually, God gets revenge. He gets swallowed by a giant fish. So
That's
most people would interpret that to be like, if you make a wrong decision, God will get payback. That's not how I see it. I see that you have a decision, and
that's the story of Joshua.
yeah,
I was
that's
just,
right. I'm sorry.
I was
I was
just
thinking
saying.
of something else.
I was just
Okay.
saying. Okay.
And I see that as a decision for a man to make. If
Okay.
you don't have the bravery to go down an alleyway, then that means you have no confidence in your abilities at all. You should be ready to go down any alleyway.
Oh, well, that's
That's how
quite
I see it.
that's quite interesting that you bring this up. Uh, now because uh, I don't think you understood what I said. Do you interpret this literally? Okay, so the story of Josh. Do you believe Josh got swallowed by a giant fish?
Oh, you're talking about if it was a real event.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Like if interpreting this word from word. Like the way you
Um,
make it sound like that if it's actually a metaphor for how a man should be brave is the way it sounds like
now
you're
hold on,
interpreting him.
hold on. Don't go all like compensating every word I say, word by word. I'm not that good at discussions. Base, well, it's a little complicated for me to just say if it's a metaphor or real event. Because one side, the Bible says it's real, and the other scientists will say it's real. And I believe the Bible, but I don't know if a giant fish is gonna swallow me. I don't think that's gonna happen today. See, I think back then, those events really did happen. What happened under certain circumstances. I can't talk. I'm sorry.
It's
It
cool.
happened under certain situations. Like I think back then, God was trying to develop human brains, like how to think of the world. And today, we think we're almost about to discover the whole world.
Okay. So
So yes, I think the Bible events are real, and no, I don't think they're gonna happen today.
so but you are saying that you interpreted it like literally like 100%. Like you believe Joshua was eaten by a
Yes,
giant fish
yes.
and okay. Okay, now I'm back on track here because now I know. Okay.
Where's
Uh,
Ronnie?
where is Ronnie?
Ronnie's right here. I'm just being
Okay.
quiet. I'm
Okay.
listening. This is
Okay.
interesting.
Uh, again, okay, even for that, I would make the argument. I would almost argue that that is a story for little kids in the time. I think a lot of these stories are metaphors for trying to solve the problems of the time. Like, for example, in uh, we'll use Joshua for example. Uh, the I could imagine the story being a midnight story that you would tell to your kids to keep them from not being, pussies. You better walk down that fucking alleyway, or Jesus gonna make you get eaten by God's gonna make you get eaten by a fish. Uh,
That's a weird thing to tell your children at night.
that
If you don't
that's
go to sleep properly, a giant fish is gonna come through your window and eat you alive.
but but no, to me that it it seems like a story to help solve the problem of the times. For example, in Genesis 1, everybody, even you got to admit, Genesis 1 is brutal. Like
Yeah.
that's a brutal beginning. But I really think that Genesis 1 was used to help solve the problems of the time, because at that time period, everyone was very tribalistic. And people kill each other. If you were strong, you killed. That's what happened. And I really think Genesis 1 was formed because you can believe it came from God, but somebody had to write it. Unless you believe that God gave this to somebody, gave the book to somebody, then that's a totally different topic, argument point we can make. Uh, Somebody had to write this thing up. Uh, I really think that a lot of these stories are stories that are just to solve these problems, and I think they've done a good job until now. Uh,
Hmm.
and that would be my take on that, I guess.
Well, now I can see what you mean by how they're children's stories, because it seems pretty far-fetched how a man disobeying someone will get eaten by a giant fish, or a boy would throw a pebble perfectly into a man's skull that's 13 feet tall, or a man that never cuts his hair would be able to break, you know, rocks and all that.
Yeah, and
And I can see where you're coming from that. But if you take you,
you
if
see,
you, you'll
before you
probably
can
never do this, but
keep going.
what?
I was gonna say this is my argument, is the idea of taking it literally. It almost sounds like more and more we have this talk, you're not taking this as such literally word by word as you would have if we didn't have this discussion. That's just what it sounds like. I don't know. Like, maybe I'm wrong, but it almost sounds like you're saying that these were stories created to solve the problem of the times.
All right, we'll break it down for you. The Bible was created for life, to help us through life. So technically, the stories were meant to help with life crisis, but not, but they were real in the Bible. The Bible, so just say if I go to a priest and say I have problems, and it's this and that and that and this. My wife left me. I have mortgage to pay, and I'm in depression. Then he'll give me Bible verses, and the Bible verses are there here to give you advice. See, he'll probably tell me go look up. I can't think of a good one right now. But there could be one that could be like how Jesus would help a man and teach the man how to walk. The man could be in self-doubt and in depressing times and might even want to commit suicide. But if he keeps believing, then the Bible states that Jesus was just there. It says that he wasn't the one that cured them. It was the people themselves. See, they believe and took themselves out of doubt in order to be healthier. Because if you're just angry at the world for being crippled, then you would forever be tormented and, being crippled. So we Christians take the Bible as life advice, as from a father. It's like, oh, manual to life. It's what we go by. It's our go-to book to see how to solve our problems. Some might be confusing. We can't just turn to a random page and say this, that would solve my problems. I'm talking about actually reading the Bible and interpreting it in your own way. And when a life situation comes, you turn to that certain page that you remember, and it'll snap into you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I think that's quite interesting.
So we
You
take
brought
the
up.
Bible literally.
Okay. This is getting kind of contradictory because it sounds like you just said you interpreted it to whatever it is you need to solve a certain problem.
Travis,
What?
there's millions of problems in the Bible solved by God or Jesus or Noah or Joseph, and all these people. All these stories can be applied to real life. For instance,
Okay.
Goliath, David and Goliath. David is to represent us. Goliath is to represent our emotions, our anger, our problems. When David kills Goliath, that's us conquering our emotions. So let's say that life is depression and you or Tiny David. If you take the right actions, you can kill depression. Another example.
Well, hold on, because I want to address that. Because, again, okay, you know what? I want to address it. I want to address something you said earlier. You brought up a crippled person, Jesus being there and using Jesus as a way to give himself the courage to help heal himself. Now, what if you take Jesus out of that what if you take Jesus out of that situation and make it just some encouraging person, maybe a friend?
Okay.
Do you
Before you
believe
get
this?
into that, before you get into that, I'm gonna contradict this. What I meant by that is true, but not the way you think. See, you're basic. What I think you're telling me is, and correct me if I'm wrong. You're free to correct me. Is that I said that Jesus doesn't even need to be there if the man can just believe that he can be healed. Is that what you're trying to say?
No. What I thought you said was very clear is that what I was trying to bring up was a totally different situation, just with all the same variable problems. Which you had said is that in I, I don't really remember the hard details at the beginning because of that talk we just had, but you had said that he had looked to Jesus for help, and it gave him, I guess, the courage or the hope to work on himself to help heal himself from no longer being crippled.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what I am saying is just uh, theoretically, taking Jesus out of the aspect, that variable out of there, and replacing it with somebody who was just a lifelong friend, do you believe the same outcome would have happened? Do, do you think somebody could... Because I know the Bible teaches that God helps those who help themselves.
Give me a second. I'm getting the Bible.
This is getting good, Ronnie. Ronnie?
It's getting really, really in depth. So I'm quiet a lot.
Yeah.
It's really interesting.
Alright,
Alright.
so let me... Alright, started a story about... Hold on. No, no, man, that will not help in this conversation. Okay. Jesus has the power of God. God is the creator of the universe and life. So, Jesus, in order for Jesus to use his powers to help others, the others must pull themselves out of doubt. Doubt is related to the devil. Devil is full of all the negative emotions, like depression, doubt, anger,
Mm-hmm.
drive you do all that, pulling you into darkness. Jesus is there to pull you out the darkness. You see, in order for you to heal yourself, Jesus will help you heal the wounds, but in order to completely heal your mental state, you need to pull your own weight. It's like a weight system. It's like a married couple, basically.
Okay.
If so, if you want the house to be well maintained and have money and have children, y'all both need to pull your weight. One can't be a deadbeat, requesting tons of prayers and to be healed all the time. So when Jesus helps this man is lowered into the building because the building was crowded with people. The entrance was crowded with people. So he was lowered. He couldn't walk. He put his hands on the man's legs and said, "You can walk, but you must put yourself..." Wait, what?
Buongiorno.
He can walk,
Salute, Ser Ezio. Shall we take a look at the
but in
list?
order for him to walk, he needs to be mentally ready. He needs to have no doubts that he cannot walk. Because if he have doubts that he can walk, then that's the devil telling him that his legs will forever be broken. And
Okay.
that's how Jesus is.
Okay.
Buon viaggio.
It's quite interesting. There's a whole movie about this topic. Can't think of it at all. Bring up the name if you think it's about a guy who gets in a car wreck. He was a boxer, and he's told he'll never be able to box again. He'll barely be able to walk. And what he does is he trains, he devotes himself, and he doesn't keep himself down in the gutter. And he trains, and he's eventually becomes the best boxer. It's a new movie. In the world. Now, here's the difference. This man was, it's based on a true story. This man was like in critical condition. They thought he wasn't going to be able to walk. Now, here's my thing. Here would be my interpretation of that story that you just told. what that is basically saying, what it sounds like, is that if you have the courage and the belief and the strive that you're going to accomplish this and you're going to be able to walk, that it'll happen. Like you said that Jesus told the
That's
man
you
that
pulling your weight. And if
you-
you do that, then Jesus will help you. That's what the story's about.
right, okay. Well,
What he's basically saying is you can't expect, like, if you're
You can't expect
doing
to
your,
just lay
you can't
there
expect
and
results
then
for nothing.
ask for Jesus to get up, and then you can get up. That's not how it works.
Like, whenever he says, like,
okay,
I
here's
help those who help themselves, that's another example of that.
okay, here's what I'm asking. Does the man believe that this man who's crippled and he can't walk, does the man just believe and he goes, I put my faith in you, and then the man can just get up? Or does he have to work on rebuilding his muscle strength in his legs, reworking on his back for spinal injuries and things like that? Does he have to train himself to relearn how to walk, or can this man just get up? For putting his
Yes
for doing
and
what?
no.
Okay.
Yes, he heals the man physically, but that does not mean he can just get up. See, the man still doubts he can not walk because he doesn't believe. See, this is a time where no one believes Jesus is real, that all the miracles can be explained. Like, the man was never blind when he rubbed mud all in his eyes. The man was just putting on a show to show that Jesus was real, but he's not really real, you know?
Is it like I don't believe that was a show. I believe that was a metaphor for enlightenment.
Well, Travis, you can't take the whole Bible as a metaphor, man. That's not what it's there for.
But
I know.
that's what it sounds like.
I didn't mean to go there.
It's cool. That I'm just saying
Well,
that's.
I see
mean-
what you're doing. I see what you're doing. You're saying
Alan,
that he can't. What?
with that being said, in a way, I see that you. I mean, I'm not trying. Like, I don't really want to get involved with this debate too much. But what I'm saying is,
Too late. You
if
always
it's
talk.
there to be, like, a life guide, like you said for Christianity, not really to be taken way too literally, maybe it could be all metaphors. Just
Okay, like for
I don't-
example,
Well, Ronnie, it's both. It's not. Basically, it's a story that's to Christians is true, and that if it's true, then it could be.
okay,
It's a story that could be implied to real life. Christians don't focus on if it's real or not. They believe it's real to them.
I see what you mean. All right, continue.
you see, you just brought up a topic, and now I would be I'm almost willing to ask, what is your definition of what you see in this Bible as being true? What is your like I asked you, do you believe there is a difference in religious truth and in truth, like as in like scientific truth, or do you believe that it's one and the same and God is the reason all these things happened?
Actually, yes, because this is how I think it happens. This is me. I'm not speaking for all Christians. But I see that you're going at an angle where you're saying that in my beliefs, it goes with Christian beliefs?
I would argue that your beliefs are almost contradictory to what most, I guess, creationists would believe.
Well, I can see how you think that, and that, well, damn.
Like for example, you believe, like when I said that, you believe that the Earth is, you don't believe the Earth is 6,000 years old.
No.
Okay, a lot of creationists believe that, and creationists are generally Christians. There's plenty of interviews with like Ken Ham. He's a big one. He believes the Earth is 6,000 years old. I don't know where he got that number. He got it somewhere in the Bible though, using dates and doing math. But
Was wrong
yeah,
because it's 4 billion years old.
yeah. But like, if you told him that, he would tell you that you are in contradictory to what the Bible says. In that story you brought up earlier, I would argue to come at it from a historical perspective, I would argue that that story is there because it was at a time that when these stories were going around, people started believing that these miracles could just happen left and right. And the story was created by somebody who you can believe that God told them this, and that's perfectly fine. I'm not trying to, but that the story was created to keep people from just not doing anything because they just believe that, you know,
Okay.
that there were just miracles
Well,
going around left and right. You see, like when Jesus
well,
went away and the miracles stopped, and people were like, "Where are the miracles?" You know, I can't hear, fix my ears. Well, no, you need to carry your own weight this time.
what? That is not completely true. You see how most people pray during surgeries, how they pray for them to pass through, and most of the time it doesn't seems like they don't, they won't make it. Sometimes, okay, hold on. Let me scroll back and do this. I forgot what I was gonna say. Okay, wait, I remember again. Okay, so I want to take my word for everything in the Bible because when it comes to me and Christianity, it's completely different from normal Christianity. Because you see, most Christians, they don't look for the facts in science. They see it, but they don't choose to look at. And I know this because I have most of my family is Christian. And I see this. They don't worry about the little details. They just worry on the facts that the Bible's here, we have a preacher, they have a good life, and they see that Bible is their guide to life. That's what all they see. And except for me, I look for, I try not to, but I look for, you know, I like science. I'm a Christian. And that's why I brought up the science Christian earlier, because that's kind of what I am. I believe in God. I definitely believe in God in all the stories. I like the science. I do believe the Earth is 4 billion years ago. The Bible might say it's 6,000, but I
Well,
just believe it's 4,000.
well, it doesn't say it's 6,000. What Ken Ham was saying is that he took dates from the time that Adam and Eve were were around the dates that are brought up, and then from the dates from Noah, and then from Jesus, and then so on, and came to the conclusion that the Earth is only 6,000 years old. Like, it's not specifically said in the Bible that the Earth is 6,000 years old, but if you do the math, the dates seem to would make you think that the Earth is 6,000 years old. I thought, just like I know you don't believe the Earth is 6,000 years old. I want to
Well,
clarify.
oh yeah, but this is how I believe it. I believe, this is my beliefs. I'm not speaking for Christians. I know this whole video is about me basically speaking for Christians, but this is my turn on it. This is what I believe. First off, before I say it, what I truly believe is that everyone can believe no separate ways. Alright, let me put that fact out. Now, I believe God made the Big Bang and then created the solar system, our solar system in particular, and worked with us specially. It made us specially in His image. And the fact that there's alien life as a result of Him doing a burst of His imagery to the universe. And what His life essence to the universe is the Big Bang. And the external life is the evolution of parasites that from Him, because He didn't focus on them. They have a try by themselves. But that's what I believe.
Okay.
Alright. That's how I combine science and
Alright.
Christianity.
Well, I think that's probably a good point to end on then. Because I'm sure this video is getting kind of long. That was a good point to end on. Simply because it doesn't put. I didn't mean to like put you in a position where you felt like you were having to defend Christianity. My argument is.
I see where you come from. But at one point of this discussion, it seemed like all the evidence points to how it would be easier to tell you how Christianity would not exist, basically, than proving that it does.
See,
You'll be like quicker to tell, you know?
Yeah. See, but like the argument that I was wanting to have, and it is, I know it's kind of difficult to have this with you because, like, everything you just said there would have been contradictory to what's actually in the Bible. Well, besides maybe the Big Bang, maybe you could interpret that as like when God created the universe, that was the Big Bang. And did this within 6 days and 6 nights. I think that was a good point to end on, though. Well, so I guess we'll stop there. Thanks for watching, everybody. Ronnie, what's your YouTube name?
The Abyss Pirates.
The Abyss Pirates. Yeah. Go subscribe to that channel. Alan, do you have a...
No.
No? Alan?
One day, probably.
One day.
Probably be full of animation.
Never mind. No.
That's
So,
not the realm what I'm gonna do.
so I guess anybody who watches this can determine who won this argument.
Well, I mean, it wasn't like an argument over which is real. It was just you guys talking about how it is.
It's all about beliefs, man.
Well, yeah, I know. What I'm saying is that we each brought up points, and the people in the audience are
about
who's
what they think is real, based on our points.
They're gonna see our points and go this. And yeah,
I feel
that's
like they should act like they never heard of Christianity or atheism, and go in blank-minded and see all of our points, and determine if he had to choose either atheism or Christianity.
Can I just make a statement here before we end this? Because I know they said it's atheism versus Christianity. I'm not atheist. I'm not Christian. Like, I'm not Christian either, really. I'm agnostic. I mean,
yeah,
if you don't know what that is,
Google it.
maybe I'll
look it up.
Google it, because there's no time to explain it.
It just means that you don't deny the existence of a higher power.
Yeah.
That's all. That's all agnostic means. Bye. See ya.